for Peek-A-Bliss?
Peek-A-Bliss is our initiative which aims at promoting the habit of book reading in children. We love to read stories in different languages: English, Hindi, Spanish and French. Today we are going to read Hamlet by Shakespeare. Before we begin with the story, we would know about the characters. First is Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark. He is the son of the recently deceased King Hamlet and his wife Queen Gertrude. Ophelia, the daughter of Polonius, Claudius's trusted chief counselor. She is also the lady love of Hamlet. Claudius, the new king of Denmark. Laertes, the son of Polonius and the brother of Ophelia. Let's begin with the story. Hamlet was the prince of Denmark. He was away studying at Wittenberg when one day he received the unfortunate news that his father, the king, had passed away. As Hamlet tried to come to terms with the fact that his father was no more, he received further shocking news that his mother had married Claudius, the king's younger brother and Hamlet's uncle. Therefore, Hamlet had also been deprived of the throne which should rightfully have been his after his father's death. As Hamlet was preparing to leave for home, a strange event was occurring at the royal castle in Denmark. The guards had been complaining of seeing a strange shadow at night which resembled the dead king, and they were sure that the strange occurrences were the return of king's spirit. After repeated sightings of the ghost over a couple of nights, the guards finally decided to inform Horatio, Hamlet's best friend and advisor. Horatio refused to believe the guards, declaring that there was no such thing as ghosts and it must be a figment of their imagination. The troll is only in the mind. However, upon their insistence, he decided to accompany them one night, and lo and behold, he too saw the ghost of the deceased king appear. Horatio could not believe his eyes. He tried to speak to the ghost, but just as the ghost tried to say something, a rooster declared a new day and the ghost disappeared. Cuckoo! Good morning. Horatio, now believing in the existence of the ghost, turned to the guards and said, "This ghost will certainly speak to Hamlet." Hamlet returned to Denmark and was completely taken aback by his mother's haste to remarry, and he certainly did not approve of Claudius. He could not get the nagging thought out of his head that his father had not died a natural death but had been murdered. While lost deep in thought, Horatio entered, accompanied by the guards, and told Hamlet what he had seen. Hamlet assured Horatio that he could accompany them that night and wait for the ghost to appear. Meanwhile, Laertes, the son of King's chief advisor, Polonius, was getting ready to leave for France. His sister, Ophelia, was in love with Hamlet, though her brother and father consistently told her that she should not believe his claims of love for her. She paid no heed to their warnings because deep within her heart she knew that he was madly in love with her. That night, Hamlet with Horatio and the guards reached the tower where the ghost usually appeared. As they stood talking in the cold night, Hamlet saw the spirit of his father appear. He tried to speak to the ghost, who then beckoned him to follow. At some distance from the others, the ghost said, "Yes, I am the spirit of your father. and the reason I still walk the earth is because I was murdered." Hamlet gasped. He asked the spirit to tell him more. The ghost continued, "It is being said, my son, that while I lay asleep in the garden, a serpent bit me. But the serpent that bit your father now wears his crown." He went on to explain how, while he was asleep, his own brother Claudius poured the juice of the poisonous herb Ebona into his ear, killing him instantly. It was morning when the ghost finished his story. Swearing all those gathered there with him that night to secrecy, Hamlet decided it was time for him to act. Over the next few days, Hamlet started acting rather mysteriously towards Ophelia. He pretended that due to something troubling him, he had started to go mad. Ophelia informed her father about Hamlet's strange behavior, and soon the matter came before the king and queen. Polonius then made a plan to be sure about the prince's state of mind. He declared that when Ophelia was with Hamlet the next day, he and King Claudius would stand behind the curtain and listen to what Hamlet had to say, which should give them a better idea of his mental problems. As per the plan, when Hamlet went to meet Ophelia the next day, both Claudius and Polonius hid themselves behind a curtain. Hamlet said, "To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it would be nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them." It was evident that Hamlet was talking about killing himself, and the king had heard enough. Claudius wanted Hamlet to leave for England immediately, sure that a change of scenery would help him to calm down. But the next day, a group of traveling actors came to see Hamlet. They requested that he allow them to stage a play for him that evening. Hamlet saw this as a golden opportunity to nail his uncle and his mother for their crimes against his dead father. He asked the troupe whether they could perform the play The Murder of Gonzago for him. He also wanted to make some modifications to the original play, and the troupe assured him they would have no trouble in carrying out his wishes. That night, Hamlet kept a close watch on his uncle. Soon the play began. It started with a man sleeping and another man coming over to pour something into his ear from a cup. The man with the cup was the other man's brother and had murdered his brother with the poison. As the play was coming to a close, King Claudius sprang from his seat and screamed, "Enough!" As Hamlet and Horatio sat and discussed the matter, a servant informed Hamlet that his mother had sent for him. Since Polonius was not too sure about Hamlet's mental state, he decided to hide behind the curtain and intervene if Hamlet tried to harm his mother. This is part 1 of Hamlet for today. We'll read the next part in our next session. Adios. Story complete. What do we do when the story completes?
Now let's read this one.